My wife isn't who I thought she was. I want to leave.
She's a secret agent?
Hello there, I, 29 female, and my 28 female ex-wife recently divorced, and boy, do I have a story to share. So, I met my now ex-wife back in 2017. It was a whirlwind romance as I had just recently escaped from a very harmful long-term relationship and was freshly single. While she was actually still in a serious relationship herself with a man, but more on that later. From this point forward, I refer to her as my ex. S. Got a name for S? You're gonna say Sydney?
Sherry.
Sherry? Sherry. Keon, you good with that?
Sherry, baby.
All right, Sherry it is. By the way, this comes from Midnight Mistress, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So when we first met, Sherry was a young woman in an extremely rough living situation, stuck with a harmful a-hole of a boyfriend, and living in a very downtrodden conditions. She was a current substance user and smoked the devil's lettuce almost as long as she was awake, meaning she was always under the influence of something. We met via an app that encouraged people in the area of the same age to meet. What app is that?
Could have been too many fish. Or plenty of fish. No,
Plenty
too
of
many
fish?
fish.
Probably.
There's too much fish out there.
When we first started talking, she expressed her frustration with her current living situation and her need for a good female friend to do some fun things with and to get her out of the house. The first night I met her, I showed up with food and cigs since she said she'd gone all day without eating and was starving. Y'all, from the first moment I set eyes on this woman, I knew she was going to be in my life for a long time. She was absolutely gorgeous and kind of shy, but in an endearing way. I immediately got butterflies just after talking to her. But seeing she had a boyfriend who I was unsure of, I tried to be very wary of my feelings at first.
Dang, it's like as soon as she asked me to bring McDonald's and smokes, I knew she was the one.
She was mine. Fast forward about a week, me and Sherry are spending a lot of our free time together and finally have an official date set up per her request. I knew her and her boyfriend's relationship was in shambles, and they were only together now because of the living situation. I was starting to get the feeling she was just into me as I was into her. Well, we went on our date. She looked so adorable and got all dressed up and smelled amazing. I'll never forget it. And she officially asked me to be her girlfriend. Then I ended back at her place, just the two of us. And yes, I'm sure you can imagine everything that happened afterwards. I have no idea. They smoke more cigs?
My parents haven't told me about that stuff yet.
And so it was set. She broke up with her boyfriend and was with me now. How awesome. But the hassle of getting her out of the house with her ex was a nightmare. I helped her through that without question and was her shoulder to cry on. Within a matter of a couple of weeks, I had found a room to rent for the both of us so I could get her to transition out of that living situation and into a place with me. This was the only beginning of our 7 years together. Over the next 9 months, we battled life together. It was an extremely tough time for the both of us because I was the only one working full-time and the only one paying bills for a while. I was only 22 to 23 at the time and still trying to piece together my life after the last relationship I had. So times were tough and money was very, very tight. We finally, at the end of 2017, had our own apartment with one roommate, and I had a new job that provided a decent salary. Sherry was working at a fast food gig at the time. Due to the progression of our relationship and the fact that Sherry had some serious health concerns I had only recently learned of, I was in the process of trying to figure out health insurance for us. It was around this time, also during Trump's pregnancy, the time most LGBTQ individuals feared for their rights as couples, that Sherry started casually talking about marriage. Given the current circumstances and the positive progression of our relationship, I was surprised but not completely opposed. Since I met this woman, I had dreamed of a future with her, and now with her suggesting this, I realized how serious she viewed our relationship. My new job would also provide low-cost health insurance to my spouse because of their great benefits. At the end of the day, the biggest reason I agreed with Sherry's idea was because I was so head over heels for this woman that I couldn't imagine a life without her, even the possibility of experiencing her being my wife. Just to be able to call her that brought me so much joy and pride. So She's getting married now. And it seems like they've been together for how long? Like maybe a year, 9 months?
Yeah, probably around a year. But they went through all that, getting her out of the, her previous relationship.
Yeah. That seems a little fast.
Yeah.
Everything seems pretty fast here.
2 weeks is fast, real fast.
She was clean, hadn't done substances in almost a year, and rarely drank. Within less than a year of knowing me, she was in a safe living environment, living her life, and rediscovering hobbies. So many positive things that had happened since we met each other. There was only one way to go, and that was up, right? So in January, we got married.
Okay, congratulations.
Yes, less than a year into the relationship, and we were at the courthouse with 2 witnesses to get hitched. It was honestly one of the happiest moments of my life. I remember even the baristas at the coffee shop that day gave us free coffee to help celebrate 2 young women getting married. Wow. I felt like such a victory for us as a couple and all the LGBT couples we knew at the time. Neither of our families approved of our relationship. Mine had basically disowned me years ago after I came out in college, but we chose not to care and did what our hearts wanted to. Our marriage was full of ups and downs. We never had lots of money. In fact, we pretty much lived paycheck to paycheck. However, we got to a point where we were comfortable, both of us working and contributing to our lives together. I received a very devastating health diagnosis within the first year of our marriage, and Sherry was right there beside me through it all, nursing me back to help and accompanying me to every appointment and procedure that took place over that time. We got through debt together, helping each other become financially stable, and paying off things from our past lives that were hindering our growth as a couple. Hey, I like this. It seems pretty good. Seems like
good.
a marriage.
Financially growing together.
Yeah.
Can be good.
Yeah. I hate these like health concerns they got going on left and right.
Yeah. I'm starting to really wonder
Yeah.
who his wife is.
Yeah.
Her wife. Sorry.
Wife. Yeah. I'm also
Who her wife is. I'm
Oh,
starting to wonder.
I totally forgot the title. I'm
Right.
just like, everything's going good.
My wife's not who I thought she was. Is there going to be a new man in the mix?
No. Whoa, man. Just a man.
Just a man.
We had dreams of moving somewhere new together and maybe possibly even starting a family. Even I managed to save up for a couple's vacation that we took together. Not too far away places, but places she's never been. I shared my life with her and taught her things about the adult world she had never known before, like how to file taxes, open a credit card, and make appointments, etc.
Well, you thought that was going to be a little more interesting.
Dude, I thought it was going to be like a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing.
I think everyone learns how to play rock, paper, scissors by the time they're 5.
Not the adult version.
Oh. Is that the one where you add dynamite?
I'm not saying it. Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
Rock, paper, scissors, dynamite.
I was raised by a single mother who was extremely savvy with all these things and saw it as an opportunity to help Sherry grow in these ways too. Needless to say, we had an adventurous, while challenging at times, life together. The only issue we never faced as a couple was trust. Early in our relationship, right before we got married, I had caught Sherry sending noodles and flirty text messages with an old friend of hers. Through lots of conversation and pleading on her end, I forgave the incident and decided to go through with the marriage as planned, trusting that she would do as she said and never speak to this person or do anything like that again.
Okay, right.
Fast forward through our marriage, and there were a few slip-ups of honesty by her, including her having friends over without my permission, messaging men I didn't know, and other small occurrences. Nothing like the original incident that had made me lose trust. That could be perceived as cheating. I figured over the years that she was making the changes and altering her behavior in ways that would build my trust instead of breaking it all over again. I wanted to trust her, and with time, I did. Several years into our marriage, and we were so focused on my health and building our lives together that I didn't think she even did those things anymore. Fast forward again, about 2 years ago. It started out about 5 years into our marriage that I was suspicious something wasn't right. We'd been growing strong as a couple, but we kind of stalled out our progress financially. We were both working full time and contributing, as always, there was no progress, just stability. So they're probably still going paycheck to paycheck.
Well, I mean, you can be stable without being paycheck to paycheck.
Well, I'm assuming if they're both working full time, they may have had to talk about, let's save this much, let's do this.
I think it's more
After 5 years,
someone's got funny money. That's what's going on here. Someone's got some funny money, and I wonder where it's going. I wonder what kind of funny business it's funding.
Something we were starting to have issues with was our spicy sleep, what folks on Reddit call it. Now, mind you, during our early relationship, we had experimented in many ways together. Being in a female-female relationship, I introduced her to many things she never experienced before that brought her so much satisfaction to speak. Rock, paper, scissors, that's what I was talking about. I had been out much longer than her and been with other women, whereas I was the only female in the relationship Sherry had ever done it with before. We had fun together, but over the years that changed, and Sherry seemed to be losing interest in that aspect of our relationship.
I mean, well, to be fair, you can only play rock, paper, scissors so many times before you start getting a little...
It's the love of the game.
Sure, but, I mean, are they,
I absolutely love tractor pulling. That's my favorite thing to do. And I'm always going to tractor pull. I'm not going to start out and go docking.
I can't even hang with this talk. I don't know what you're talking about.
I did what I could to keep the spark alive. Trips to the spicy sleep store, new positions to try, etc. And even offered things slightly outside of my comfort zone to please her. I would have done just about anything to keep this woman happy. She was my everything. Wow. But it got to the point where we were scheduling time, and I was always the one to initiate anything with her. Then one afternoon, the truth came out, and my life was changed forever. It was only 2 days from my birthday, and I had noticed we hadn't planned to do anything yet to celebrate. Our families were still very distant at the time. I hadn't spoken to my sister in over 8 years since she cut me off when I came out. So Sherry and I always tried to go really big on the holidays for each other. We were all we really needed and had at most times. The day started out normally, but as usual, Sherry was on her phone almost 24/7. Sherry had recently gotten seriously addicted to several online games and was always either chatting with a fellow player or taking part in group activities in her games. At this point, she was spending 90% of the time on her phone, and it drove me crazy, and it was a constant point of contention with us. I made a comment about it again on this day, and the events that ensued blew my world apart. Dakota, are we playing games on this phone?
I mean, she's playing games for sure, just not the kind that go beep boop. She's playing games, emotional games.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sherry had been seriously considering her spicy relatedality for a long time.
Yeah, baby.
All of a sudden, she revealed to me that she wasn't a sapphic and that she was bi.
Yeah.
I wasn't too surprised, as I knew her relationship history and what she was into spicy related. I told her I was okay and that I understood, but she went one step further to admit she'd been wanting a relationship with a man again and wanted me to allow her to date men now. She missed certain things about being with a man and wanted to seek out a new relationship. I was shocked. How was all of this related to her being on her phone so much? Sherry always made rude comments about men since her last boyfriend and expressed that she was glad she didn't have to date men anymore and how discussion she found them.
Well, I think she was starting to... all that time she was spending on her phone was time she was spending rediscovering her desires for the men.
Yeah. Is it sort of like, ew, men are disgusting, or like men are horrific? Which one is it? It's like, Dakota, stop. You're so mean. Get out of here. Or is it like, Dakota, like, chill the F out, man. Come on. Which one is it? There is a difference there.
I think this is something that should have been really, really, really talked about at the very beginning. Way
Whenever
before
you
you guys got married,
for sending noodles. Maybe that would have been a good time. Before that,
literally, like, this needed to be ironed out. Like, as soon as you go from like, all right, she's she was in this relationship with her ex-boyfriend, and they break up, and it's like, can that influence her thought decision, or whatever, her feelings of being like, I don't want to date a man ever again? Like, of course, like, that could influence that decision. But there should and maybe there was. Maybe they did have a conversation at the beginning of the relationship. She's like, so what are you feeling? She's like, I don't feel like I'll ever date men ever again.
Wow.
And then, but if you do get to a point where you're like, it just sounds like y'all weren't anywhere near ready to get married.
Yeah, they
clearly.
weren't. They rushed everything so quickly, like living together, getting married under a year.
And that really, if you're still not, and it's just hard because we're filling in a lot of gaps here.
Yeah.
But it's something that can happen.
Yeah.
And if it does, the only way you can really deal with it is to move through it with like honesty and just openness and being like, hey, this is what's up.
It seems like we're doing that. OP says, I considered her request, even going as far as to ask her to give me a few days to process what had happened and to contemplate her request. I did not immediately shut her down. Yes, she is my wife. But as I said, I was willing to do about anything to make her happy at this point. I loved her more than I've ever loved anything. We had come so far together. Mind you, over these years together, Sherry had become the very version of herself I always knew she could be. She dressed very classy, took better care of herself, focused on hygiene and mental health, knew how to take care of herself financially. All the things she had learned during our time together. I was very proud of her progress. So I took a couple of days, even consulting my grandmother, who I had a very rocking relationship with at the time, on advice on what to do. I love Sherry more than anything, but I was willing to let another individual into a relationship, especially a man. I dated men a lot throughout my early years, but had long since decided I preferred women and was not at all interested in a relationship with a man. And on another note, I was willing to share my gorgeous and amazing wife with someone else? Heck no. I respect those who choose poly lifestyle, but that's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I am fiercely monogamous. Not to mention all the vows that Sherry made to me the day we got married. I took those vows extremely serious, and I thought she did too.
I mean, she could have at the time, That's the crazy part.
People change.
She really could have felt like that was real. And who knows how much she's influenced. Like, it could be that. It could be there's been some comments that have suggested, like, well, she's doing the same thing she did with her previous relationship. Is she's setting up the next one. She's getting it in line so that she can jump from where she is now to the next one. And that's, why she's been on her phone the whole time. But the key is, if you as soon as you start feeling this, you can't be on your phone 90% of the time.
No,
you have to like go, hey, I had the hardest thought ever today.
Yeah.
This is going to be rough, but we have to talk about it. I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
Or,
Exactly. Yeah.
So it does feel a little like
Agreed.
Jump shippy.
Yeah, it really does. So needless to say, after much thought and those wise words of wisdom from Grandma, I decided I could not agree to Sherry's request. I did not want a relationship with anyone else, and I truly wish I could be the one that she needed. We went through my birthday with binders on, me deciding to just ignore the current situation and enjoy my special day, and Sherry acting as if nothing had happened. But that night, I told the truth. I couldn't imagine life any different than it already was, and I was happy with the things were. This is what I wanted, and yet she didn't feel the same. It was then that I learned another truth to this tale. Sherry had been communicating for several months now with one of her teammates on her online game. This man she didn't know from a country across the world from us, yet they'd been flirting and messaging. Now, it wasn't just the fact that she was questioning her spirituality, but the truth that she had been going behind my back and talking to people she didn't even know in a flirty way. I was fuming. All those years we've been married up to this point, I thought that she left that part of herself behind. Sherry had always had a flirty personality, which is one thing that attracted me to her. But after years of marriage, I had thought she'd save those things for me and finally stop seeking others' attention. Boy, was I wrong. See what you did there?
Boy. Because it's, yeah, right.
Boy. With this confession, I was floored. On my birthday of all days. Yeah, dude. On the birthday.
Dang.
Bro.
That's like almost as bad as like on Valentine's Day. Or is that worse?
Worse.
Worse?
Everyone gets to celebrate Valentine's Day. Only you get to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, it does kind of put a damper on the day.
Yeah. I had to tell Sherry things were done and I couldn't do this anymore. And we needed a break. I told her she didn't need to move out right away, that I would find my own place in time, and that she was free to do whatever she wanted. The only thing I requested was that she wait until we were completely separated before starting activities on seeing anyone. I didn't want strangers in our apartment, or worse, someone else in our bed. She agreed to my terms all too readily, as if this was some type of ticket to freedom for her. In the days that followed, I completely lost myself. I wept in bed, drank too much, called grandma almost daily, and began an internet search for new apartments. The devastation that my marriage was over completely floored me, and yet Sherry hadn't so much as apologized for anything that had happened up until this point.
Yeah.
She somehow seemed excited to have this newfound freedom she got.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even remember seeing her shed a tear once I told her it was over.
Yeah. Because it's been over for her for probably months at this point.
Her original request had been one thing, but her admitting to being unfaithful and messaging guys again behind my back was enough to break me. All the trust I thought we'd built over the years was completely destroyed, and I had no idea how to move forward after this detour had been thrown into my path. Over the next 2 weeks, I ended up moving in with my grandparents. They were my absolute rock through this whole situation and opened up their house to me without question, even after all the turmoil since I had to come out. I ended up living in their guest room for almost 8 months after the split, rent-free, due to their generosity and unconditional love. During the early stages of our separation, I was still returning every few days to the apartment I'd shared with Sherry in order to pack my things and look after our pets. We had 3 young guinea pigs at the time that needed constant attention. Oh, that's cute. Sherry was never home. She left things around the apartment that made it obvious she was already seeing someone. Lingerie, beard oil, and other people's clothes.
And you're just rubbing it in. Yeah, dude.
So I immediately knew our pact had been broken. Of course, how can I expect that she'd be trustworthy after the biggest breach of trust had already occurred? When I confronted Sherry with my knowledge that she was having men over at the apartment, she somehow flipped the script on me, made it seem like I was the encroaching one on her happiness, that it was her choice on how to be happy, and that she was choosing this lifestyle. Hence why she never apologized for ending our marriage, since she was simply choosing another lifestyle, and who was I to stand in her way?
What an absolutely goober-brained take to be like, actually, morally, I don't need to empathize with you just because you're my ex-wife. I'm actually going to just like openly flaunt the new people I'm with now in front of you.
No respect at all. I see none.
Yeah, I'm going to care 0% that we were married for what, 8 years?
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, and actually, morally, I don't need to be empathetic. What a goober rock brain take.
This is wild.
Unbelievable.
I was officially out of the apartment at this point. The management at the complex had known us for a long time, and when I told them the situation, they were very willing to let me sign the lease over to her and relieve myself of any current responsibility. And thank the goodness of the gods, since within a month of leaving, the management was contacting Sherry to let her know rent was overdue. We had never had overdue rent since once in the 4 years we lived there. Pretty sure she actually ended up getting evicted from that apartment shortly after we were separated. Our small group of mutual friends was completely shocked by our separation. The small amount of details I'd shared with them left them gobsmacked, although some of them weren't actually too surprised. One mutual friend even admitted that Sherry had tried to kiss him recently, and he felt extremely confused by the situation. Another fact that infuriated me, but wasn't too surprising. I now realize Sherry may have been going behind my back for a while without my knowledge. Sherry was able not only to lose her wife, but gain an almost immediate boyfriend within all about a month's time, while I was still crying over my perfect marriage being ruined. She was having men over to the apartment regularly, and even had one move in with her, which I only knew since I was still getting mail alerts for the old apartment. It was at this point I knew, just like with her last relationship, just like she'd been done with him, he had punted her own wife to the curb to jump into bed with someone new.
Yeah, but that, it's been in the works for a long time at that point. I wouldn't even give her like, well, she did it in a month. It's like she's been doing it for months and months and months. She did this getting warmed
before.
up.
You lose them how you get them.
I mean, yeah. It seems, very suspect.
Yeah.
That this could be that.
I cut contact completely within that first month, but then began the long process of separating everything from her. We didn't share a bank account, thank goodness. Oh, wow, thank you. I'm extremely careful with money, and she isn't. Thankfully, but everything else, as far as insurance, electricity, phone bills, was both in our names. I immediately changed the electricity, figuring if she was so determined she didn't need me anymore, then I don't have to pay her bills. I immediately find out that she had a past due notice on the electricity, which I also paid in order to close the account. She also had a phone, which I paid for. I warned her several times over the course of 2 months that she would need to create her own phone account and to continue paying for service, and she never complied. So in the end, her phone was temporarily shut off. In the end, I paid well over $600 for her in fees in order to get everything out of both of our names. I never asked her for a cent, seeing I knew she couldn't afford it and just wanted all ties to be cut off at this point. Yeah, sometimes you just got to pay a little extra to be done with it.
100% agree. And it's all of that just again, I think is more evidence that she's just kind of like a very flippant individual.
Yeah.
Where she's just like, oh, wait, yeah, well, we just get married, right? Well, whatever, we'll just do it. Or it's like, well, yeah, oh, what, the fees or the phone? Yeah, whatever. It's whatever. Everything is just, whatever.
On a dime, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to go do this now. I'm going to be with women. Now I'm going to be with men.
I wonder what her moment was after they, she was probably even before they were married.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I wonder what it was, the moment where she was like, guys seem like a good option right now.
She's probably been with guys this whole time.
Or maybe talking with them. Or who knows? 7 years is a long time.
Yeah.
But
she could be. She was doing this. She almost kissed a mutual friend. Also, why did that mutual friend not say anything?
Something so ridiculous.
We had been separated for well over 6 months when I was still finding other bills that were in both of our names or had my bank account info attached to them. This entire time, Sherry is sending me nasty texts on how could I treat her this way? And if I don't stop contacting her about stupid crap, she'll block me. Our relationship had gone a complete 180 at this point. No longer was I the one supporting her and helping her. Now she saw me as the one standing in her way. So I quickly got out of it. By the way, you can quickly go to your next story from Storytime. All you got to do is go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, search up Storytime, and boom. As fast as you can say, Storytime's the best podcast in the world, I love it so much, you can have your next story playing.
Yeah, and you can say that real quick if you
say
practice.
Let's hear it.
Storytime is the best podcast in the world, and I love it so much. All right, I got it pulled up. Storytime. Boom. So back to the story. Now, as of this day, we are 1 month divorced. The process was longer than I wanted it to be. But in the end, like with everything else, it was all up to me. Despite Sherry's very adamant choice that she was never the one that divorced me, and this was her choice, I ended up being the one that had to go through the courts and officially request a divorce. I feel like she didn't even show up at the court. I paid all the fees involved on my own and attended every conference and hearing to drudge through this long process of divorce. And all Sherry had to do was sign a dotted line.
Well, maybe I want to sign a solid line.
In reflection, I'm extremely upset with Sherry, and yet I can still find some room in my heart to forgive her. But the heartbreak she caused me will forever be left a stain on my heart. I loved her more than any person. She taught me patience, resilience, and loved me more than anyone had ever before. And in the end, she tore me apart completely and moved on as if I was just another chapter in the book. So please, Reddit, folk, let me know. What am I supposed to think now? Oh my gosh.
Wait, whoa, that's a crazy question.
I know this story was long-winded and I apologize, but as a romantic sapphic in today's culture, losing love like this is something most of us LGBT folk fear the most. I am doing exceptionally well now, but still have a hard time sometimes thinking of my future. After experiencing the love I thought I'd never find, and then having it end like this, what else is left for me?
Dang, dude. I got I don't know if it's I don't know what proverb it is, but it's like the pain you feel now is the happiness you felt before.
Wow.
That's the deal. It's, it takes rain and sunshine to make a rainbow. Everyone's afraid of falling in love and then losing it. It's
true.
terrible. It's horrible. It's one of the great unifying, terrible human experiences
Yeah.
that we all go through. At the end of the day, I think that while you loved this person, maybe they never really reflected it back the way you think they did.
Yeah. I think a lot of people go through their first love and it is devastating. They don't want to lose it. I remember that. I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to.
No one wants to do that.
But right now, you're divorced. You're going through a horrible breakup that you've been with someone for 7 years. I can't even think about that. It's going to take time for you to believe that you deserve love. Because right now, I know OP thinks she doesn't deserve love and that this is her fate forever. That's not the case. There's someone out there.